in contact with me. But those are like the best ways right there.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, thanks for being on.
And thanks for having me.
All right, there's an interview with Ensomniak. That song we were talking about called Morality. He wrote that not too long after we had first met, and he knew that I knew a lot about the Bible at the time, and I guess he didn't know too much about it, so he asked me to give him some verses about some shitty, fucking crazy examples of, quote, morality from the Bible, and of course there's no shortage of examples for that, so I sent him a shit ton of them, and he made the song out of that. That's why he gave me a shout-out in the credits of the song. Since we mentioned that and talked about it a little bit, he agreed to let me go ahead and play this song on here. It's called Morality. Check it out. It's pretty awesome.
And a person clearly doesn't learn that cruelty is wrong by reading the Bible or the Quran, because if you don't already know that going in, you're just going to be confronted with endless celebrations of cruelty in these texts. I mean, these books are bursting with celebrations of cruelty, both human and divine.
This book could be moral if you don't mind the misogyny and thinking women are nothing more than property. Deuteronomy teaches it's fine to rape women. If they're captured in war, they're yours for the picking. A victim of rape has to marry her attacker. Long as he pays a father, then he gets to have her. Women are seen as less than second-class citizens. Seems like it'd be easy to tell preachers to sit and spin, but no. You can be righteous and still think you ought to let a crowd of men gang rape your daughters. That's what Lot thought. Sick in any context. There just isn't a way to justify the concept. It's complete nonsense. Some say it was the time. Things were different, so what? You changed your mind? Is the Bible wrong, or should women not be equal? Would you say we should treat them as lesser people? Biblical morality is fictional or fallacy. If you thought it's real, you're showing symptoms of a malady. When mentioned, it's so sad to see another mental tragedy. Thinking this book full of brutality is reality. Biblical morality is fictional or fallacy. If you thought it's real, you're showing symptoms of a malady. When mentioned, it's so sad to see another mental tragedy. Thinking this book full of brutality is reality. In this day and age, it should take a lot of bravery to say your morals come from a book that's pro-slavery. Maybe we should sell daughters a new commodity. If they didn't claim it's true, it'd be bad comedy. Probably because that book hasn't been updated, so the lessons taught from it haven't been upgraded. I've heard it stated that was in the old book, but what about Luke 12 verse 47? Yeah, go look. I know some believers have the best of intentions and just cherry pick from what each testament mentions, but these messed up editions of ancient lesser conditions support people being in oppressive positions. That's why it's so strange my culture is so addicted to a book that helped their freedom remain restricted. They're afflicted to something contagious and outrageous, singing praises to the pages that kept them in cages. Biblical morality is fictional or fallacy. If you thought it's real, you're showing symptoms of a malady. When mentioned, it's so sad to see another mental tragedy. Thinking this book full of brutality is reality. Biblical morality is fictional or fallacy. If you thought it's real, you're showing symptoms of a malady. When mentioned, it's so sad to see another mental tragedy. Thinking this book full of brutality is reality. Thou shalt not kill. Remember that commandment? It seems simple, but few of them can understand it. The God itself planned it in that Exodus story. Mass infanticide, there isn't much more gory. So anytime your next door neighbor gets you mad, punch their little baby to piss off mom and dad. That can't be bad. It's in the Bible, like genocide. I'm sure during ethnic cleansing, only sinners died. Stone your disobedient children and kill gays. Slay your neighbor if he labors the wrong day. Yahweh says blaspheme or follow other religions, then you must have made the last of your decisions. This is all from the bloodiest story of a soul, used to control the foe since back in the days of old. If you were told morals come from this, you've been lied to, and you know it said atheists like me should die too. Biblical morality is fictional or fallacy. If you thought it's real, you're showing symptoms of a malady. When mentioned, it's so sad to see another mental tragedy. Thinking this book full of brutality is reality. Biblical morality is fictional or fallacy. If you thought it's real, you're showing symptoms of a malady. When mentioned, it's so sad to see another mental tragedy. Thinking this book full of brutality is reality.
The Bible may be an arresting and poetic work of fiction, but it is not the sort of book you should give your children to form their morals.
In these books, the most unethical behavior is celebrated. If these events occurred in our own time, half the prophets and kings of Israel would be shackled and brought to the Hague for crimes against humanity.
This week in Science versus Religion.
Let's get ready to rumble!
All right. right, on This Week in Science versus Religion, we got some messed up stuff here for you. All right, check this out. In the Science Corner, I found a article that was titled, "The Bizarre Mating Ritual of a Bee Parasite." All right, the name of this parasite is called a Stylops ovinae, I guess. I never heard of such a thing, but that's what it's called. And the females of these parasites, they literally live inside of a mining bee their whole lives. They have no wings, no legs, no antennas, no eyes, no mouths, and no genitalia. So this is about how they reproduce. So how do they reproduce without any genitalia? Well, I'll read from the article. It says, a male bee parasite they found will attach himself to the female bee, then stick his penis into the female body through her neck. Yeah. By bypassing a female's reproductive tract, traumatic insemination itself is a way for males to better ensure that their sperm is the stuff that a female uses to make offspring. And the female parasites may have evolved a way to not be too harmed by the act. They have a little pocket of tissue in the neck area, which the male deposits his sperm, and this may provide a little protection from the trauma of multiple males stabbing her in the neck. Okay, so check it out. This is something that's supposed to be called intelligent design by a lot of Christians, right? So if you are a female Stylops ovinae, you spend your whole life living inside of a bee until a dude comes along, fucks you in your neck, and inseminates you. Now, it's not like they have an orifice in their neck. They don't. The guy has to penetrate, like stab, his dick through her neck, fuck her neck, inseminate her, and then, if that wasn't bad enough, once the babies are born, they literally eat the mom alive. So that's this whole parasite's life on the woman's end. Lives inside a bee, gets punctured through the neck with a dick, fucked in the neck, inseminated in the neck, has kids who then eat her alive. That's crazy. Okay. Now, religion can't possibly bring something to the table that'll be worse than that. So, let's see what you got, religion. What do you got this week? Well, I found an article in the Friendly Atheist, and the headline reads, ISIS dissolves live enemies in vats of acid. Okay. Wow. Alright. The article says that ISIS has captured 25 alleged spies, and they were individually tied up with a rope and then lowered into a vat of nitric acid until their organs dissolved. Okay, apparently this is a fear tactic that ISIS is now using to keep their stranglehold on the citizens in the parts that they've taken over, which has been reduced because of military action. They've been suffering quite a few military losses, so ISIS is shrinking, and as they're shrinking, they're becoming more desperate with more heinous, disgusting, horrific torture methods to keep people in check. So now they're killing people in vats of acid. Oh, fuck. Does it ever end? Alright, and now somehow I gotta try to find a winner between these two things. So let's start the clock. Alright, we have a parasite here who lives in a bee, gets fucked through its neck without a hole. It has to have a hole be made with a parasite dick. Fucked in the neck, then the kids are born and eat the mom alive. Or religion with killing people with vats of acid. Okay, vats of acid, getting plowed in the neck and having your kids cannibalized. I gotta go with my gut here and just go with the way nature works. I mean, this is an intelligent design, but it is natural, I suppose, that this has to happen to the poor parasite. Whereas in killing people in vats of acid is not natural. It's barbaric, disgusting, wicked, and insane. Sorry, religion, you lose again. All right, this is the second round of Science versus Religion on Adam and Atheism. And as of now, the scoreboard reads Science 2, Religion 0. Better luck next time, Religion. All right, and last but not least, I have an interview with who has become an anonymous friend. He's a friend of my son's, a 14-year-old who I've known pretty much his whole life. I know his parents really well. We're all good friends. And he was over here a few days ago, saw my studio, and said he wanted to be on the show to do an interview. So I thought, what the hell? Let's do it. Let's talk about religion with this guy. So we did that. And I called his mom earlier to make sure I was sure she'd be okay with it, but I just wanted to make sure just so I wasn't putting her kid out there like that. She listened to it, and she said it would be okay, but only if I took his name out of it and his relationship with me and all that so nobody could, track him down. Kind of, I don't know, irrational fears, but I can understand where she's coming from. So his name's been edited out of everything in the interview so nobody knows who he is, but still a really smart, insightful, aware kid. I just wanted to give him his platform to speak. So here's my interview with a good friend of my son's. Enjoy. Hi, and thanks for being on today, man.
Thank you, Adam. Glad to be here.
Are you?
Yep, sure am.
Awesome. Okay, so is my, I guess it would be, right? You're my son?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you're 14, correct?
Yep, 14.
And we'll be 15 and
Yep, sure.
awesome. Yep. Okay, great. So, as far as a religious upbringing, did you have any kind of religious upbringing? Were you raised around religion or anything like that?
No, I was not. My mom really didn't care about religion. She never really celebrated it or anything like that. She never went to church or anything like that, so.
So you never went to church with your mom at all?
Nope. Only my stepmom.
Not even once?
Nope, never.
Oh, wow. Okay, so what about when you would visit your dad and stepmom?
I would always go on, mostly every Sunday I would go to church with my stepmom and my dad. Some Sundays we had stuff going on, but mostly all the time I would go on Sundays.
So you hung out with them every other weekend, right?
Yes, every other weekend.
So pretty much every other weekend you would be at church on Sundays?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And that was starting at about how old were you?
It started about when I was can't really remember, I think it was around 8 years old or something like that.
Around 8 is when you started going to church with them every other weekend?
Yes.
Okay. What'd you think about church? Was there a kids class that you went to when they were in church, or what was that about?
Yeah, I did go to a little kids thing. We would go down to the basement and have church down there. But, being a little kid, I didn't really understand anything that they were saying, so I didn't really understand religion when I was a little bit little, going to church.
Okay, so going to church and you went to the kids' classes, when they would tell you the religious stories and that kind of thing, it never really, clicked with you, or it didn't make sense, or what?
It never really clicked with me. I never really understood it. We would always read, parts of the Bible, and I would go up there and sometimes read it, but it never really clicked with me, no.
Okay. All right, so back then, you wouldn't really say that you believed it then?
Yes, I never really understood it, never really believed it.
And that goes on to this day, right? You've never really believed it and still don't really believe it?
Yeah, that is true. Growing older, I actually understood a lot more about evolution and stuff like that, growing older, and started to believe a lot more.
Okay, so the things that you didn't have, or that you did have questions about back then that religion had seemingly bad answers to, now it makes sense to, learning about science and stuff in schools?
Yes. Some, back in 8th grade where I'm in right now, we did a segment of evolution and stuff like that. And I had to write a whole essay about it.
Okay, awesome. Now, as far as, family influence, I know your mom's side never believed, but I'm familiar with your dad and stepmom's side. They're all very devout Catholics, right? Mm-hmm. Now, do they ever discuss it with you or anything like that, or do they know that you don't really buy into it?
They were always really mad if I didn't really believe, and they my stepmom's aunt, she's very, very religious, and she always tried to influence me to believe in everything, and I never really believed it.
So you feel like it was kind of forced on you then?
Yes, I felt like it was forced on me.
Do you get any kind of backlash from